For staying with us, and you're watching Daybreak, reaching you live from the nation's capital. Now, we'll be taking a look at a report on the issue of the fuel queues that are resurfacing in the capital city and also in Lagos, yesterday put together by our correspondent Aisha Salihu. Take a look.
The situation in many fueling stations in the Federal Capital Territory at the moment is indeed appalling, as so many vehicle owners have to wait at long queues in these stations to access the premium motor spirit. And of course, we have those of the passengers who are waiting to access vehicles where there is price hike in the cost of transportation. And of course, some persons are stranded. They are unable to get access to vehicles. While the cause of the fuel scarcity is unknown to stranded commuters and vehicle owners, they continue to condemn the situation, calling on relevant authorities to find a lasting solution.
Apart from the traffic thing, I've been to several filling stations. I don't know what's happening. Nobody's talking to anyone. The queue is everywhere. This is like the 8th filling station I've been to this morning. So it's more or less like the whole of my day is gone on queue. So I don't know what is happening. The government should do something about this. And I think we are entitled to information. If there is anything happening, let us know. Let's be prepared ahead. Black markets everywhere. Today, this morning, a black market was telling me for 10 liters, 3,005. Then I look at it, if I'm to fill my tank with 50 liters, how much would that be? So if increase in fuel price rate is what they want to talk about, they should let us know. If the subsidy thing, we should know.
This is usually where I come to get fuel in the mornings, in the evenings, but for the last 1 week or so, it's been like this. About 2-3 days ago, I was actually stuck inside from around 7, and I left here around maybe 11 at night.
The shortage of fuel at fueling stations has become an avenue for the black market sellers to hike fuel prices, leaving a negative effect on cost of transportation.
It's not funny. We are not finding it easy. Just like other people who are going to work out there are not finding it easy to get vehicle to their destination. By the time you want to buy fuel, it will take you a very long time, maybe like 2, 3 to 4 hours before you get fuel. Then by the time you want to go out to go and do your business, continue your business, nobody will like to pay extra money. And that time that we waste, and even when you want to buy full tank for filling station, they will be telling you there's no full tank, that they have to give you half a tank. So, and it's affecting us. When you buy today, tomorrow again, you will still go back there to go and queue because they are not giving us full tank. So that is why we increase our own price for customer them.
From Mujabi here to Gbagba, 800 naira. Una waiting time people they collect for our hand. To them to buy fuel now, see in a filling station everywhere they locked. You understand?
Although preliminary investigation reveals that the cause of scarcity in some parts of the country is as a result of adulterated fuel in circulation. According to the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, the directive to withdraw the product from the market after distribution to many fueling stations across the country created a supply shortfall, thereby leading to panic buying. The fear of fuel subsidy withdrawal in the minds of both private depot owners and some retailers, a policy that has been postponed by the government, perhaps is the cause of shortages of this product at these fueling stations. This has rendered so many commuters stranded, as so many people are unable to get to their places of work and businesses just in time. The Independent Petroleum Marketers noted that the Nigerian National Petroleum Company is working to ensure disruption to the supply chain is addressed as soon as possible. Aisha Salihu, Trust TV News, Abuja.
All right, that was the report on fuel scarcity in the FCT. And to discuss further on this issue, we have joining us virtually our Daily Trust energy editor, Simon Echeofun. Good morning, Simon, and welcome to Daybreak.
Good morning.
All right, can you please tell us what the situation is like in the FCT? How bad is it?
Yeah. I think the fuel queue issue started almost since last week Wednesday. It started in bits in Abuja, and as of yesterday, it was still gathering momentum. But we understand from observation last night that a lot of fuel stations are taking delivery of new products. So I think from what we're seeing, maybe in the next 2 to 3 days in Abuja, the queue may ease up.
All right. Now, the agency responsible for this test has confirmed to us that this is coming as a result of this methanol that is above the specifications required, and which is why we are having this kind of scarcity in the country at the moment. How would you say? How did we even find ourselves at this situation? What's the process of verifying and testing and making sure that only the standard product is imported into the country for consumption for Nigerians? How did we miss this?
Yeah, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, as of now, is the sole importer of PMS, that's Premium Motor Spirit, otherwise called petrol, in Nigeria. And NNPC is not a baby company; it's a conglomerate. It reckons with the likes of Saudi Aramco and others globally. So they have all the testing process, the laboratory testing, and every procedure that they needed to. But then this is just unfortunate, like it is said, mistakes can, there's no way you can always totally, read out mistakes. For instance, when we spoke to some of the marketers yesterday, they were angry, especially the Major Oil Marketers Association of Nigeria, MOMAN, that it shouldn't be that NNPC Limited is vested with the sole, responsibility of importing petrol because of this kind of issues. That it should be diversified, and that is exactly what the Petroleum Industry Act is saying. Saying now, when NNPC imports fuel at the seaports, it now the depot guys will have to take this fuel before they are distributed up to the retail levels. So, and in those processes, I was made to understand by experts that all through these processes, there are various tests that are conducted. So NNPC for now has not come out to say why it has happened, but the regulatory agency, the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Agency Authority, yesterday confirmed that a source has been identified where this petroleum, the adulterated petroleum, is coming from. Not like it is completely adulterated, but that there is a high significance of methanol, which is always part of the blending process for PMS, and that specification is actually higher than what Nigeria requires. So, he said appropriate sanctions will be taken. So we hope that in the case of investigating what happened, the Nigerian populace will be carried along to know where really this thing happened, and then sanctions might be placed on those places.
Okay, now this particular issue is coming at a time where, the controversy between petrol subsidy removal and, the PIA Act, still rages on. Share your thoughts on this. What is your thought on this?
Okay, please, can you just help take it again?
Is actually coming at a time, when the controversy on the petrol subsidy removal, is still raging on. I would like you to share your thoughts on this.
Okay, that's great. You see, it's completely ironical, and the Petroleum Industry Act stipulates that at least once the market should be completely deregulated. This is what the federal government of Nigeria was working towards. But then, after so much pressures from the organized labor and the political, sphere, this thing has been put on hold for now. And we recall that even before this issue came up, just 2 weeks ago, when the heat of the nationwide protest by organized labor was going on, there were cases of people could say hoarding. NNPC came to say no, we have enough fuel supply, and that people should avoid panic buying. So, and when the federal government extended the subsidy payment, the plant subsidy, removal, extended it, we started seeing that the queues around fuel stations were easing. But then this one that is coming is, completely says something that the system, no matter what, has to be deregulated, because this has shown clearly that there is a lapse with the single importation, of petrol and model, and I think this is necessarily, even if it's by error or whatever it is. I think this has clearly shown that Nigerians would actually prefer a deregulated market. Take for instance, we've been having the sale of diesel. Apart from the prices rising up to over 400 this week, there are less cases of adulterated diesel across the fuel stations that could cause a trigger that spreads so far like this. So perhaps if we had had more people importing petrol, maybe the significance wouldn't have been so much this way. Yeah, there could be issues of adulterated fuel, which the regulatory authority will immediately slam sanction on those kind of importers. But coming from a sole importer, a monopoly, it is quite significant. I think this buttresses the point that the the subsidy removal is key, if not for, at least for one thing, to ensure there's competition from every side. So I think it's coming at a time when it's showing the importance of the subsidy removal.
Now, even though the regulatory agency here has said that this bad fuel has been withdrawn from the system, but I mean we really cannot say 100% the extent to which this fuel has spread already, and there will definitely be implication for some motorists, for commuters and the likes. Give us a sense of what the implication of this could be on the economy entirely.
Okay, if I hear you clearly, I think basically what government should do in terms of this is to ensure that you know uh, the current fuel already. I think actions are going by NNPC Limited to ensure that the bad fuel is withdrawn from the system and the new fuel injected. And already, like we observed last night, some of the fuel stations are already taking delivery of a supposed quality product. So we believe that in due time to come, this thing will ease off. And in the future, to prevent this, I think NNPC may have to step up its monitoring and inspection. Inspect not just the NNPC, including the regulatory authorities. We have the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority. It has to step up its monitoring of the product that is coming in. As soon as any container comes in, or a fuel tanker comes in at the port, I think absolute monitoring is required, so that this kind of case don't happen again until when the fuel subsidy is completely removed and the market is fully deregulated to allow other entry players in the downstream petroleum sector.
Well, I was, trying to say the implication, of this kind of fuel, this bad fuel, on motorists and commuters. What's the likely implication on that, on commuters, on our transport system, and the general economy as well?
Okay, I think the worst has already happened. You could see from the survey that was made, definitely a lot of people in a lot of places they had rise in transportation fare, all due to a lot of vehicles are off the road, queuing up at the stations. But I think the worst has already happened, and we hope that these things are easing out soon. And for those vehicles which were affected, because we reported one or two of those kind of motorists yesterday who confirmed their vehicles were affected. Unfortunately, they will have to do some little works on their filter and other things anyway. But then the other losses is that it was quantified that at least 100 million liters of petrol was affected, and that is like a 2 to 3 day consumption according to figures from NNPC Limited. Now the point is, where we need to go forward is who will bear this cost. Is it the NNPC Limited, which is the Nigerian people? Is it the marketers who already have this petrol in their in their first retail outlets? Who is going to bear this cost? At 165 naira per liter, we are talking about 16.5 billion naira, that is being traded here. So for now, nobody knows who will do it. When we spoke to IPMAN, the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria yesterday, they said they have already directed their consultants to go across the stations and then document those who have this kind of petroleum products, so that by the time they are done with their records, they will take it up with the NNPC and see how they can arrive at a solution, perhaps a compensation. And Ipman is not just the only player in the marketing sector. We have the MOMAN, that is the Major Oil Marketers Association of Nigeria, and we also have the DAPMAN, that's the depot managers, those who have the oil depots. So it's a long process in the value chain, but hopefully it will be resolved, and then I think Nigerians will be better for it. Like I think from history, from records, this has not happened in the last 20, or years or more. From records, it has not happened this way before, to have a massive, level of impact effect of adulterated fuel in the.
Okay, now, do you think the IMF insisting and, pressuring on fuel subsidy removal and VAT increase is putting so much pressure on Nigeria as a whole?
Yeah, the IMF has always said so, and not just the IMF, even the World Bank itself, as a section, has always believed that the fuel subsidy is putting so much pressure on the Nigerian, financing, and even the foreign exchange. Yes, of course, but I think the government is not also sleeping. At least we've seen effort so far, effort at ensuring that the refineries are rehabilitated according to the master plan presented by the Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning uh, recently, when she met with the Senate President, Dr. Ahmad Lawan. These things are ongoing. Rehabilitation is coming, and hopefully, Nigeria is going to see maybe a boost by the year end, or even early 2023, when the Dangote refinery comes on stream. So, for instance, rather than Nigeria going abroad to import a source, maybe Italy, wherever, Brazil, where you could have a high, level of methanol in the oil, in the petrol, the PMS being delivered, you have a single, a closer source of getting sourcing for this PMS, which will be of the highest quality, and that is the Dangote refinery. So if it comes in that way, one, this kind of issue we've just seen will be completely eliminated, because we know that this one is closer and there are processes to test it. But we the argument that Nigerians or even civil societies have always made about they remove the subsidy is that IMF says yes, that Nigeria is subsidizing the rich, because those are those who have fuel, and then the smuggling of petrol. In one way, nobody has been able to come out to you know, investigate this independently to find if it is true or not. But one thing is for sure, Nigeria has more dependence on petrol. The power system is not working, and so a lot of businesses, especially SMEs, run their businesses on little generators, not the big ones, the company ones, which use diesel. So, and they rely on petrol. Our transportation system is still growing. We don't have the full-time rail system connecting every part of the country, so we still rely on motorcycles. We rely on mini buses, the one taking 5 7 passengers to run transport. So we have a whole lot of dependency on petrol, and that is why anytime the issue of removing the subsidy comes up, it's a big one for Nigeria, because it affects even the masses. It affects the value chain of the agricultural value chain. It affects everything, and even when the income level of the Nigerian populace is poor, I wonder how the government, maybe this issue of insecurity and crime, could even rise. So I think these are the considerations that the government is having on keeping the fuel subsidy. But as time goes, I believe the reality will be down, and one day these things will be cleared. But then adequate preparations have to be made by the government towards that, in terms of improving the transport system, improving power supply, and every other thing that could cushion this process of removing the subsidy. Thank you.
Okay, now just before we wrap up, now there are reports that NNPC is withdrawing over 100,000 liters of, this bad fuel from circulation. Where are they taking it to? What is going to happen to, this bad fuel?
Yes, thank you for that. This is actually one thing we have been asking, and then from the response we got from Ipman yesterday, this fuel are currently at the tankers, that's the underground tankers of various retail outlets that have already received their quota from the various depots. For instance, one thing we observed since last week, where you could see a fuel station that is dispensing petrol, but only 2 or 3 pumps are working. And then yesterday we moved around and asked 1 or 2 of these, the pump attendants, why is it that only 2 or 3 pumps are dispensing in a particular fuel station? And they say, see, we have the other pumps, we have the fuel we bought, but then that is the fuel that is laden with in fact, they were saying sulfur until the NDPRA, the Nigerian Midstream Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, clarified that it was methanol yesterday. Everybody said it was sulfur. So basically, that is what is happening. Now, when their consultant go around and take stock of the affected quantity of this PMS, which is said to be about 100,000, liters, then 100 million or so, or 1,000 or million liters. That is when they will take it off. For now, they are there in the depot. And what they are doing is that they have freed up their tankers so that they can bring in quality products immediately to sell. While this one, they keep in a separate tanker until when these issues are resolved. But hopefully, I think the chain might be that this fuel will go back to the depot, and from the depot, only NNPC knows what it will do with it. But for now, that is it. It's possible that they could take it back to another refinery and do the refining process. Is also possible, according to experts, that this thing could be taken back to refineries where these products could be, worked on, improved on to for efficiency.
Thank you so much, Simon, for joining us on Daybreak today and, giving us your perspectives on this particular issue. All right, so that was Simon Echewofun, his Daily Trust Energy editor. With that, we'll go on a quick break, and when we come back, we'll move...